kick it off. Thank you all so much for joining us this morning. My name is Rachel Morris. I am the Executive Director of the Rolesville Chamber of Commerce. Today, I know many of you joined us for that infamous title, What's Happening with Fiber in Rolesville. We put out a couple of social media posts to kind of talk about some things like, has your home experienced an increase of users? Of course, as I mentioned earlier, if you're a parent, you have family members home, you have kids home, we have extra family members in the household with us. So there's a lot that's happening right now. So we wanted to make sure we could bring Ting on and make sure they can give you an update and a status update for those like myself. I see the Ting trucks in my neighborhood. So we wanted you to hear directly from them today. We are streaming live on Facebook also as this is going on. And so I just want to introduce who's here today. I'm going to turn it over to my co-host, Alan Smith with Team Encompass, and he is going to just give you a couple of housekeeping rules to kind of let you know how today is going to flow so that we can kind of make sure that we're getting to everyone's questions and everyone has an opportunity to get their questions asked and answered if possible. And we have enough time in this 1 hour time block. Thank you so much. Now over to you, Alan.
Thanks, Rachel, and welcome everybody. Thank you all for allowing me to co-host and be a sponsor. I'm a realtor based out of Rolesville, North Carolina. I'm a residential realtor, so if anybody has any questions about buying or selling homes, would love to chat with you. I'm so excited that we're going to have some new options here in Rolesville as far as internet and whatnot. I can't wait to hear more about it. As far as before we introduce Ting, I want to let you know about the housekeeping as far as they're going to have a presentation. That's what's going to happen next. You'll probably have some questions as they go. They'll pop into your head. So go ahead and throw those into chat and put a Q in front of them. You may also have some comments too, and that'll allow us to tell the difference between what's a comment or a general thought and what's a question that we may want to come back to at the end. Or you can save your questions to the end, pop them in chat there, or we may let some people on the screen and we'll try to answer everything then. I think we're shooting for around 11 o'clock end time, and we'll start taking questions about 10:45. So, and now I want to turn it over to Amanda Meyer, who is the marketing coordinator for Ting.
Good morning, everyone. It is so great to be here. We are very excited to share what is going on with Ting in Rolesville. I'm sure you've got all kinds of questions and seen our trucks, so we're here to answer those. So first, let's start off. Let me go ahead and move on to our local team. We do have some members of our local team here with us today, but I just wanted to point out those who are working and living in the area that are bringing that fiber internet to you that are not here today. So that is going to be our regional construction manager, Brian Deffenbaugh. He is not on this, but he is in charge of making sure that that construction runs smoothly, that we are keeping your yards maintained. Sherry Cooper is our enterprise account manager. Later on in the presentation, we will talk about some enterprise and small business options that we have with our fiber internet. And then our marketing manager, Shannon McSweeney, she also could not be here today, but she is an essential person to making sure we get the communication out to you around construction and promotions as soon as we're ready to go live in Rolesville. I'm Amanda Meyer. I am one of the marketing coordinators in North Carolina, and I'm going to turn it over to the rest of the team that is here to introduce themselves. So Paulina, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, hey everybody. So my name is Paulina Porter. I've been the marketing coordinator here with Ting for the last almost 5 years. And I'm really excited that we're finally able to offer fiber to Rolesville and some of those northern Wake County communities. So if you guys have any questions, definitely make sure you put those in that chat box because we've got a lot of answers too.
All right, I'll go next. Hello, everyone. My name is Todd Rubin. I am the regional city manager for North Carolina. Very excited to be here. Been with Ting about 5 years now, and we're very excited to be in Rolesville. And please, any questions that you guys have, we'll be happy to answer.
My name is Eric Kurthois. I'm the fiber technician manager for Rolesville, Wake Forest. I'm just here to answer any technical questions you guys may have at the end. Just making sure all of our installs go smoothly.
Excellent. All right, and so let's get started with what Ting is.
Great. So just to give a little background on how Ting and Rolesville came to be. So we had initial conversations with the town of Rolesville starting back in 2019. Around 2020, spring of 2020, we started building out neighborhoods in Rolesville. And good news is that we expect to have our first neighborhoods active early April of 2021. We'll kind of give a little more updates as it gets closer to the date. Hopefully there will be no further delays, but we are expected to activate Rolesville in the spring of 2021. So many of you may or may not know, but fiber is very beneficial to residents and business owners of the communities we serve. For example, studies have shown that gigabit fiber can increase the value of your home about 3%. It also retains and attracts new businesses to your community. Large downloads and files take minutes instead of hours, depending on the connection you have. It helps reduce cost and it increases access to and quality of education, public safety, healthcare, transportation, and government services. So why Ting Gigabit? So as many of you already know, and obviously in the times that we're in, everyone's home right now. A lot of households have multiple devices, whether that be smart home devices, computers, iPads, smart TVs, etc. Ting offers 1,000 megabits upload and download. We offer a symmetrical gig. Wireless speeds are anywhere between 300 and 600 megabits per second. Streaming high definition video starts instantly, so you never get that, I call it the circle of death, the buffering that you may experience with a slower connection. And obviously, like I said, multiple users and connected devices just run a lot more smoothly using a fiber connection. And, for those who have kids, like myself, who's constantly on the PlayStation or Xbox, online gaming is just a better experience using a fiber internet connection. So a lot of you, may have a lot of questions about the construction in your neighborhood. Some of you may have already experienced construction in your neighborhood. So you have already seen this, but typically before we go into a community, we will send out a mailer just with information that we're coming about a month before we build out your neighborhood. And then about a week or two before, you will receive a door hanger, just letting you know that we're pretty much on our way to build out your neighborhood. Again, with some additional pricing information and right-of-way information as well. So what to expect during construction. So as I said, about 2 weeks before construction begins, you will see a notification on your door, and you may also see paint marks around areas in your lawn. And what that is 811 marking your utilities. So when we do construction, we don't cut any crucial gas lines or other utility lines that may be underground. This is a North Carolina law, so it's something that every company who is digging underground, or even a homeowner themselves who are doing yard work that needs to dig underground, you need to call 811. The paint marks typically will go away within 2 to 4 months, depending on weather, but they will go away. So no reason to get nervous that you have paint marks on your lawn. But again, this is a law, and it's really just to make sure that we don't cut any underground utilities. Construction in your neighborhood. So again, most of you may have already seen this, but what we do is directional boring in the right of way. And in the aftermath, what you'll see is what we call a handhole, which is the picture on the right. And that's a recessed box that's underground, and all you'll see is the cover of the Ting handhole on your lawn, which is the green lid.
And just a little bit more information on these pictures. We do get quite a few calls sometimes during the construction process of bringing that conduit into your neighborhood. It looks very, very, very messy and very busy when that construction is going on. But we make a point to make sure that by the end of the workday, 5 o'clock, you're shutting down for your workday. So are we, and we're making sure that we're cleaning all of that up and storing that heavy machinery away from your community so that you don't have to worry about it for the evening. And then we just bring it back when we're ready to start again.
So this next slide outlines the city right away, and this is where we install our mainline conduit in the neighborhoods. Now, when we go through a neighborhood, we do have to build out the entire neighborhood. We do not bring any type of infrastructure, conduit, or fiber to your house unless that resident wants service at the time of activation. So typically the city right away is where all the utilities are. It's about anywhere from 7 to 12 feet from the curb, depending on the town. And that's where the handholds will reside.
So Eric, do you want to touch on this? This is a new install process that we have started. That's basically just going to get you fiber internet faster and also keep your loved ones at home safe with COVID going on. We're going to try and stay out of your homes as much as possible. So we've developed this new install technique. Eric, go ahead and elaborate.
What Todd was saying earlier too with the locating. Please locate any dog fences you have or irrigation with the company that put it in if you can, if possible. We have a lot of issues with dog fences where it's not located properly or it's not located at all. And it gets hit. So please, if you have a dog fence, or let the guy know, and please do what you can to at least get a general area where it is. But our one-touch installs, I sent out an installer will come to your home. It's kind of like a consultation. You go over where you want everything, where we're going to route that fiber to get to that point. Most people have smart panels in their homes, so a lot of times they'll bring the fiber right to that point. They mount an ONT, which is like a modem, and get a good reference of what it is, where it is, what you're going to use for equipment, and then we go ahead and we blow the fiber. I'm sorry, we drop the fiber, we drop a conduit in, then we blow the fiber, then we splice it in, and your service is activated. This is an important part of the time to figure out what kind of Wi-Fi you're going to use, how you're going to use it. Most folks go with a mesh unit to capitalize on the amount of speed that we provide. If you have an older router, this would probably be a good time if you're going to go with our service to upgrade that router to handle these kind of speeds that we offer.
Awesome. And we do have some collateral that we'll leave behind after you have that initial meeting with an installer. So you will have access to all this information. And then obviously, if you have any questions, our support number is on that collateral as well.
Absolutely. You have the technician at your home, ask them anything you may need. They're really smart with Wi-Fi. They're very technically advanced, probably smarter than your average installer, I guess, from another company. So you'll see on the left here, the drop conduit. They bury it from the handhole out in the front by the sidewalk to the side of the house, wherever you decide you want the service brought in. The box there in the middle, that's what we call a NID, and that's probably about the size of a hand, I guess. It's very small, noticeable. They try to hide it the best they can, like up against the corner of a house or down a little lower, and then they bring the fiber in. The fiber is typically half the size of a phone line. It's very small, it's white, and it's easily hidden, I guess. Then the locates, we'll call in the locates by law, of course. Make sure they're clearly marked. That way the contractor will know not to hit anything. Sprinkler systems, like I was saying before, to reiterate on that, please be sure to indicate this to minimize any damage that can be caused by this. Once the drop conduit is buried, it goes into our list where that immediately, as soon as it's blown, as soon as possible, my outside plant crew will come by and push that fiber up to your home.
All right, and then just to go into our pricing and products options. So before we start, you do absolutely have, actually it's the third bullet point here, but you do have the option to keep your own router. We do recommend, however, that if you are deciding to use a router that you already have or purchase a new one, if you are switching from a provider where you use their equipment, we do recommend that it needs to be gig compatible. And that's just so that you can get the speeds that we're offering. We don't want there to be any slowdown on your end due to hardware issues. But there are a few options for, products that we have that we use that you can purchase or rent. So our router options, that right there is a picture of our Zyzel router. You can purchase that for a one-time fee of $199, or you can rent it on a monthly basis for $9 a month. And then we are adding a new product, a Wi-Fi extender, to our product list. That is a one-time purchase of $125, or again, you do have that option of renting on a monthly basis for $5 a month. We also are starting to, bring to the public our TV streaming pricing. So I know you may have heard some whispers from Holly Springs a year back or so that we were trying to create a cable product. And we've kind of just decided, we're going to just move with the times, and streaming is where everyone is headed. So let's just make streaming as accessible as possible. So here's a few options. We do have streaming devices and Apple TV that you can purchase from us for $179. Or you can also rent that Apple TV for $9 a month. If you don't want to commit completely, or you don't really know what kind of streaming products you like, you can try out the Apple TV for a $9 monthly fee. And then we also do have the Amazon Fire Stick 4K. That does not have a rental option, but it is a one-time purchase of $49. All right, and then of course, I'm sure there's tons of questions, all kinds of questions about this. So our pricing for our internet. We have two options. We have the 1,000 megabits uploading and downloading, and that is going to be that symmetrical gig that we offer for $89 a month. And we do also offer a smaller option for those who may not use a lot of internet. I'm sure that's not very many of us nowadays, where we're all at home, working from home, doing school from home. But that's the 5 for 5, which is 5 megabits, and really only good for light internet browsing and email checking. So for that 1,000 megabits uploading and downloading speeds, that $89 a month, we have absolutely no price creeps, and we have no contracts. What you see is what you pay. So I know I unfortunately do not have Ting, and I use another provider, and every couple months they increase our price just by a couple dollars, and you don't really notice it until it's a year later and you're paying significantly more for service than when you originally signed up. That is not an issue you're going to have with Ting. We also have this other great opportunity that we would love for you to take advantage of if you haven't already, which is to pre-order our service. So you can go to ting.com/Rolesville and enter your address. It is a $9 deposit, but that is fully refunded once sorry, I got a little distracted by that little ding. So once you actually get service to your home and you're billed for that first month of service, that $9 automatically goes onto your bill, so fully refundable. And it also gets you the free standard install and 1 month free. And also it indirectly puts you in line of who we're going to call first when service is ready in Rolesville. So if you've already pre-ordered, then that's perfect. You're already on the list to get a phone call when we're ready to start lighting people with fiber internet. Oops.
Do you want me to take on the business, or?
I mean, yeah, just
Yeah,
like one slide about business. So we've got a few options. Our basic business package is the $139 a month. That is the same speed as our residential, which is the 1,000 megabits uploading and downloading. The reason that price is a little steeper is if you do have a brick and mortar, there are just added costs for the construction to your space. So if we have had questions before, if you are running a business outside of your home, you do not need to get the business package. It's all the same benefits and same speed. It is just a little higher if you're going to your brick and mortar. But if you do need crazy fast internet for a business you're running out of your house, we're not going to make you pay that extra money. I would just go with the basic home package. And then of course we do have enterprise level services. Those are a little bit more nuanced, and I have our contact information for our account manager for our enterprise sales, Sherry Cooper, who could not be on the call with us today. And those are customized in both solutions. So you just have a conversation with her and we work out what works best for your business. And so those prices vary based on, whatever deal you decide with Sherry. And then now we'll have some time for questions.
Okay, as a reminder, if anybody's tuning in, to go ahead and put your questions down in chat. If you, and maybe you don't have chat activated yet, just in case, click chat on the bottom of your screen, and that'll bring up a section on the right that you can get to it. While we're waiting for some questions in there, I've got some that I can toss to you, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
So I noticed when y'all were mentioning the speeds on the fiber, I think it said 1,000 megabytes up and down. Did I hear that right on the up? I mean, that's sometimes the relationship for your down speed is a lot higher than your up speed, right? Like, for example, I think I'm running like 900 and something download today and 40 up, but that's okay. I mean, 1,000 up, that's crazy.
It's
crazy
so
fast.
We have what we call a symmetrical gig. So when you're doing any sort of speed test, you'll notice that it's going to be fairly similar regardless of what you're using. So if you're on Wi-Fi, you'll probably see more of the 600, maybe 400 meg options coming up, but it's going to be about the same for both sides of that. So you could be at 303 and 310 for the up versus the down.
Cool. So where if people are tuning in and are not sure where that applies, I know for me, I do some live streaming. I've got another person in my house that does live streaming. I'm crossing my fingers that we're not doing it at the same time, because it's taking that upload bandwidth. So that's where really it can help.
And again, you're going to benefit from the gig mostly when you're wired into the router, correct? So what we do recommend is if you are going to be using the service more through Wi-Fi, that you either get an extender or a mesh system. And we can recommend a few. Eric has a bunch that he recommends to residents that he installs. So 100%, like, you will benefit the most in getting that symmetrical gig when you're wired in. And even so, you'll still see a bigger benefit and higher speeds through a fiber connection through Wi-Fi versus your traditional cable connection.
Yeah. And there's another question I've got too, and I honestly don't know the answer. I mean, I know a little bit about the uploads, like I mentioned, but as far as is there a difference? All right, so some companies don't offer fiber, but they offer high speed, and then fiber obviously is high speed. Is there a difference between the two?
Absolutely. Yes. I worked for another ISP for 20 years on copper, and the problem with copper is you're on shared bandwidth within nodes within your neighborhood, within certain areas. So now with everybody being home from COVID, of course, everybody's feeling the pain of that. With us, you have a dedicated fiber that literally runs to your home. Right. So you're not sharing your bandwidth with your neighbors and whatnot. So it doesn't matter if there's 50, 100, 1,000 people on that node, whatever. Yeah. You have your own dedicated symmetrical gig.
So days like today, when we're all home and with weather, we're good. Awesome.
In addition to that, it's fiber into the home. We don't splice it beforehand and put it into copper or anything like that, which is what
there's no hybrid system. We are 100% fiber system. There's no
awesome.
Copper. So.
Got it. All right, so we've got some questions rolling in. This one is from Rachel. If you rent equipment, how often will the equipment be updated? And I guess also to expand upon that, does it need to be updated? I mean, I think we're used to that with other providers. Will that be the case too? Technology changes.
Yeah, so right now we are actually preparing to update our routers. So of course, whenever we do decide to do that internally, then those who have rented routers would get that update. However, we don't have to update them very often. So again, if you do rent our equipment, it's easier for us to service because it is our own, and you do have that guaranteed update whenever we do decide to make those updates. But honestly, it's not very often.
Okay, great.
And
Mhm.
I was just going to add, in addition to that, if you do purchase the equipment from us right out, that's where you're going to kind of miss out on the benefit of renting. Because if we do decide to update our pieces that we use, unfortunately, because you've purchased it, you won't be able to get that option.
Okay. Yeah. So that's a good distinction too. Just remembering back when y'all were sharing the price, and it is one or the other. It's a purchase or rent. It's not like you have to buy in and then also pay.
Correct.
A
Yeah.
rental fee.
Correct.
Okay.
It's the
Correct.
$199 to purchase it flat out, or
Mhm.
$9 a month to rent it from us.
Great.
And also, just to address another question that I think someone accidentally sent to me privately, I will share this with Rachel so that she can send it out to all of you. But we do have some Ting written blogs about highly recommended third-party products. So if you are deciding not to rent or buy one of ours, but
Yeah.
still kind of don't have a clue what router would be best with our service, we have those resources that we can share with you all.
That's awesome. I had not too long ago tried to buy something, and it was the wrong thing. And then I chose to pick it up locally to get it quick, and I got to take it back. Yeah. So
Yeah.
tell us what to get.
Absolutely.
And Alan, what
yeah.
I'll do is I am monitoring us on social media also. So we have
Oh,
questions
good.
that are also popping up in social media. And
Okay.
so I'm putting some of them in the chat, but because I'm on two different computers, what I'll do is I'll just jump in. If the question is not asked, I'll jump
Thank
in
you.
and just ask those questions too, just to make it so it will flow. And there's
Yes.
quite a few that are pouring in. So if for some reason, Amanda, if I do not get an opportunity, I will make sure I send these questions over to you. But I think we're doing really great on time. So
Absolutely.
Alan, I'll turn it back over to you just so that you know kind of what's happening over here on my end.
That's great. And
that
I should try to do the same, because I reshared it out on a couple of different places too. So I'll try to check in on some of those as well. And then Rachel too, while you're still in here, you've got one question. It might have been a repost. Could you restate the timeline? Do you know, is that about the, it's the $1 million question, is the installation, when is it available? That's what they're asking, right?
That's
So
the
right-
infamous question. And it was also because it was mentioned that it would be going live. I think the question was, where will it go live? Is there a schedule? Because there are some neighborhoods that do not have Ting yet, and they have not seen the trucks in their neighborhood. So some are wondering kind of when those neighborhoods, or whenever it goes live, is there a schedule of which neighborhoods would go live?
Yeah.
And actually, if there's a schedule to say, if theirs is not going live in April, then when would it be going live?
Yeah, and Todd too, as y'all answer that, Rachel and I were talking the other day, and I think I was talking to somebody else too, that they were letting me know. Tell me if this is right, as a baseline to answer that question. There's lines that have been installed, but then there's, I guess, something else that in some neighborhoods, and then so that's part of the question. Which neighborhoods are those installed? Well, there's several questions, because like if my neighborhood's not on that list, where does that leave me? And then is there some kind of substation or something, or something else that needs to be installed to then hook up those lines? How does all that work? And what does that mean for the timeline?
Yeah, so what the neighborhoods that we've already constructed is just mainline conduit. So we still have to, so it's those neighborhoods that we've already built out are technically not active. The first neighborhood will be active. The goal right now, from what we're hearing from our engineering team, is early April.
Okay.
Now, if your neighborhood hasn't been built, I would say two things. One, definitely email me with your neighborhood. It doesn't mean that we will not build it out. It just means we haven't gotten to it yet, and there could be reasons why we have not. So
and while you're talking about the neighborhoods, I think there was a screen. I don't know if Amanda, if you're running the screen, was there a screen that showed some neighborhoods too?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Todd.
Yeah. So, and you'll see that in the, I think it was the first or second slide. There is a map of where we currently have built out in Rolesville.
There it is.
So I do believe that Heritage Gates, which was, I believe our first neighborhood that we built out, is going to be the first neighborhood active. And then we're just going to roll out to the other neighborhoods, as we complete it. So just to kind of throw this out there, there is a lot of pre-order demand in Rolesville, so it will take some time. And we have the same installation crew that we're using in Rolesville that we currently use in Wake Forest. So again, if your neighborhood is not on this list, please email me directly, and we can definitely look into why haven't we built out that neighborhood? There could be a reason why.
Yeah.
And definitely, if there's enough interest from people in that neighborhood, for sure, we will definitely look at building it out. That's
what the pre-order is about. Like,
correct. Yeah, and the pre-order shows interest in your neighborhood, so it serves two purposes. Obviously, if we already built that in your neighborhood, it locks you into that pre-order discount.
Yeah.
But it also, for those that we haven't built, it shows that there's interest in that neighborhood.
Okay. And so if we're not on that list, like I can see my neighborhood's not on that list, but it's close. It's close by one of those. I've pre-ordered, but maybe enough people in the neighborhood haven't also pre-ordered.
Correct.
Where does that, will you be, I guess, turning active those ones that are already on the list? Will we be behind all those?
Yes.
Correct. Yes, because
Okay.
we haven't built out those neighborhoods yet. So
Right.
Only the neighborhoods that are on this list that you see on the slide right now are the
Right.
neighborhoods that we built out in Rolesville
Okay.
currently.
All right. Then
Those will be the ones that are first active.
Yeah.
But we do have two separate teams for the installation of the fiber to your home and our construction crews that are building the network. So that means that we could have installs going on in April at the same time that possibly your neighborhood is getting the mainline conduit in, and then we just tack you on to the end when we go through the list of pre-orders and are ready to install.
Right. And the good news is, so when we obviously built out Rolesville back in beginning of 2000 or middle of 2020, those neighborhoods that are coming out after activation, after the town is activated, you won't have to wait as long. I mean, we'll just have to get to your neighborhood, but you won't be waiting a year for activations.
So if I'm kind of sensing what you're saying, right? Since the main lines have already been laid there to
Correct.
kind of flip the switch to go active once you have the rest of the infrastructure in place, like that could happen fairly quick. Like all of those could kind of come online. Is that
right? But
okay.
just to clarify, so when we activate the town, when the town is technically active, we're not installing every single neighborhood on this list at once. We're going to roll them out.
Okay, got it.
Now there's two parts of this. So what you saw in the build in this map is mainline conduit. We still have to go in and we don't bring fiber to an individual's house unless they want service. Right. And that's what we call the house drop. And that's when we'll run that fiber line from the handhole in the right of way to your house.
Okay.
Cool. And that's the easy part. So it's the mainline conduit that we need to get through in order to service a neighborhood.
Okay, so that brings up the next question that's in chat by Kristen Tyson. She's asking, if you pre-ordered a long time ago, where's the record of that? There was a post from Ting to check your address, but it only asks if you pre-order again. And that speaks to, I think her question speaks to kind of what you're talking about with the house connection. If they're on this list, we're not too far away from April, if they just want to check in and confirm that they're still on the list and
they would
they're
need
good
to
to go.
call us for that.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can reach out to us. We can definitely check it. Those pre-orders sit in our backend system.
Yeah.
But so when we are activating a specific community, the pre-orders will get a call from our support team. The residents do not have to call us. When the neighborhood is active, our support team will reach out to all the pre-orders, and then at that point, they will say, "We saw that you pre-ordered. Are you interested in signing up for service?" And it's also very important to note that the pre-order is good for 1 year from the time that you receive that phone call. So from the time that your community is active the pre-order is good for a year. So you don't have to decide right away. You can say, you know what, I'm not ready yet. You know, I'm going to think about it for a month or 2 months. So at that time, you can tell our support staff, hey, I'm just not ready to sign up just yet. I'm going to hold on to my pre-order. Or on the other end of it, they can say, I want my pre-order refunded if they're not interested at all. So we're not taking your $9. It's refundable one way or the other. If you sign up for a service, that $9 will come back as a credit on your bill. And if you don't sign up for a service, you can request that refund as well.
Yeah. But I will add to that too. Sorry, I was just going to add that just from what her question was asking, when you've pre-ordered, it goes into our system. We're storing that information, but it doesn't necessarily show that on the front end of the website. When you go into the website, it's going to let you put in your address and see if you can pre-order again. If you want to just check in and see to make sure that your pre-order is there, maybe you want to just verify that it went through, that's where calling us and just we'll check our side of things and just confirm that it is in fact in our system. But if you did pre-order, don't go ahead and do it again. We don't want to take the extra $9 from you if you don't have to pay it. It's just easy enough to call us. And that's one thing that I don't think we've mentioned yet, but calling us does not get you to a menu tree. Like, you're not stuck going through and trying to get a hold of the right person. We're not going to send you to the other line.
Good.
You call, you get straight to a person, they answer, say, hey, this is Ting, what's up? Not like that, but you get the idea. So, you know, you're not going to have to deal with a lot of extra hassle just to reach out and say, I want to make sure that I actually have a pre-order in the system, because that's easy enough for them to check.
Okay. Good. Yeah. And Todd, I appreciate your information too, because something I didn't think of is like people may be stuck in a contract for a minute, and that kind of gives them an option with that. You said a year, right? From the time that they did the pre-order. So that gives them some time to adjust.
From when we light.
Yeah. So not from the time you get the pre-order. Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah, because if we call and you've pre-ordered, say 2 years before that, when we call to say, hey, we're ready to light you, that's when that 1 year window starts.
Thanks for clarifying. That's what I meant, but y'all said it better. Thank you. All right, let's go over to chat. A business question from Jason. Will you also offer phone service? And he's talking about, because I think y'all had mentioned that business service option, and maybe I can't remember exactly how it was listed, but it just mentioned internet. And thanks, Amanda, for going back there. And then will you have a phone service as well for that? And or if not, if you can recommend a decent price service.
Yeah, so we do partner with a VoIP called Prime Voice. And so they are a separate company, but there is a special discount for Ting customers. Mm-hmm. So yes, we do have a partner that we can provide business phone service to. However, you're more than welcome to use any other VoIP service provider.
And Ty, tell them what VoIP is too.
Voice over internet. So Prime Voice, Vonage from a while back, that's a very popular one. I don't know if you remember Vonage, but they're voice over internet.
And I will add that's if you have like a house phone, at this point, your house phone is voice over internet already. So regardless of what you do, you're still going to be over the internet with your phone. And you might notice when your internet goes out, so does your house phone. So it's just something to keep in mind. Regardless, you're not going to have in the ground running down the street house phone. It's just over the internet.
And also those VoIP options are available for residential as well. I just spoke with a Wake Forest resident who recently got installed, and she went with the voice over IP or voice over internet option. So it's not just limited to business. If you want to still have a landline in your home, that is absolutely something that we can do.
Okay.
This won't quite be as landlined.
It's the future of landline.
Yeah, the future of landline is the internet line.
Yeah, and if you want more information on Prime Voice, we do have a one-sheeter on it. You can just email us and we'll get that over to you.
Awesome. And then there's a direct message from Timothy who wants to know, has the signups for Ting in Rolesville been high? If you have any percentage information to share, and if there's any data on percentages or numbers
That
of
is
the early adopters by neighborhood.
internal information.
Yeah, we can't share exact numbers.
Due to being a public company, we can't provide exact numbers, but I will say that we are very pleased with the interest in Rolesville, percentage wise, numbers wise. It's been very successful.
They did better than some of our southern communities when it came to the amount of pickup on that interest within the first month of announcing we were coming. So
Great.
they were
There's
really excited in Rolesville.
Yes, there's definitely a mutual excitement in Rolesville for our service. So.
And again, if there's communities that
every time I'm in the store in Wake Forest or Rolesville, somebody will stop me and ask me a question about Ting. So there's definitely a big interest in everywhere you go here.
Yeah. And can y'all give me just a quick list, because we want to get on to some more questions. What other towns are you in around this area?
We are in Holly Springs, Fuquay Varina, and Wake Forest, and then Rolesville is our fourth.
Cool. And will you be dipping into Raleigh, or are you staying in the bedroom communities?
Todd, you take that one.
So I would say at this time, not right now. However, I am pushing for us to look at expansion opportunities in North Carolina.
Gotcha.
Just don't have exact locations yet, but it's something that's been a conversation.
Okay.
All right, Todd, I have another question over here, and this is from Kathy, who posted the message on Facebook. She wanted to know, you mentioned the standard install. She wanted to know, when would the install not be standard?
So customized installs, I mean, Eric probably could speak to this better, but anything that's not a standard install. So if you're going to, and Eric, feel free to chime in. So for example, if you have a media panel on the second floor and there's a conduit that is already placed by the developer, or there's a conduit just in that panel that's going out to the side of your home, that would be considered a standard install. Anything that's that would be considered additional work for our installer. So if you're going to a third floor, or they have to install conduit to get to the side of the house, anything that's typically additional work that would cause let's say 30-40 minutes or an hour of additional work would probably be considered a customized install. And Eric, please feel free to chime in. You probably can answer that better than I can, but
you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
We've actually had a few where the customer got really creative, so that would kind of fall in the lines of the customized install. But as far as most of these installs are pretty straightforward. You have an existing service at a certain point in your home. Most people like to copy that. 99% of people, if they have it in a panel, they want it right back in there anyway. So it's literally going through the crawl space to the panel, or through a sidewall into their office. So it's pretty much standardized. Sometimes we'll get somebody that put a new addition on their home, and it's a little bit more creative, and we have to come up with a different solution. But those are kind of rare.
And your technician, when they come to your home for the first time and they have that conversation with you, they'll make it clear whether your install falls under standard or customized. And so you are not shocked when you get a bill for a customized installation. You'll kind of already have that of okay, that took a little extra work. So that's what I'm seeing.
And that will all be discussed up front. Like they won't do the work without approval, without.
Correct.
So,
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
It's all consultation when the installer gets there too. So please ask questions and tell them everything that you want and need, just to work through that the first time that they're there.
Cool. So I've got a question that's back on the pre-orders. So this person lived at one address in Wake Forest, and then has moved to an address in Rolesville. They had done a pre-order. And should they just call you? They want to know, is that initial pre-order lost?
You would have to transfer the pre-order.
Yeah. So if you call them, they can transfer it, so they don't have to make another one. We would just update it in our back end so that pre-order that they already, and that way they don't lose their place in line. So if they've already pre-ordered, they're in a certain position to get called for an install, and so you don't want to lose that spot. So if you just give us a call, we can transfer that over to your new address, no problem.
Okay, cool. And I think y'all, the next question that Paulina has actually answered a question
Yeah.
from Amanda about a specific neighborhood that wasn't included in the map, which is Hampton Point. So if I'm reading it right, Paulina, the map just hadn't been updated, but Hampton Point is in there.
I dropped the most recent map into the conversation thread. So if you haven't seen it, you're welcome to click that,
Cool.
that file that I inserted there.
If they're
Yeah, so-
viewing this, because we've reposted the stream several other places and they may not be able to get to chat unless they're on the Zoom. Or do you know, or can you do a quick reference? Are there any other neighborhoods like that's the only one that was
That's
on the
the
updated
only
map?
one that I think that
Okay.
map that was posted and Amanda, if you don't mind, can you go back to that map? I think Hampton Point was just a last minute addition when we were making so that Hampton Point is just right there on that left hand side and just didn't make this map that was uploaded here, but I
Okay.
did put that map, the correct map, into the chat.
Yeah. You're all around me. It's like Battleship. Can I ask about Carlton Point?
You can ask, but I don't know that
Can't
we
tell.
have an
Okay.
answer for you at this point. Go knock on doors. Say, hey, if you haven't pre-ordered, do it now.
Carlton Point that's a new build, correct?
Yes. Well, it's been, I think the first builds go back even as far back as maybe 7 or 8 years ago, but then there's about 50 more lots now that are still being built. And we are restreaming on the Carlton Point Facebook neighborhood page right now. Too.
And I did hear you mention something about you're at 900 megs right now. So is it safe to assume you have like CenturyLink or AT&T currently providing service in there?
It's Spectrum. So I'm on one of I'm on one of the streets with new construction. So what happened when I came into the neighborhood, and this is what I mentioned at the beginning, it's nice to have options, right?
Yeah.
So there is CenturyLink and Spectrum in the neighborhood. But like CenturyLink has not turned the corner and come down my street. So I only have that one option.
Yeah.
So
Which is not.
So, Alan, definitely send me a separate email. When you get a chance. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I do have another question, and this one ties into another question regarding, I have two questions combined. One is from Kathy and one is from Barbara on Facebook. Kathy's question was regarding Ting being inside the town limits, or will it be available to the most rural areas of Rolesville? And Barbara's question ties into that because Barbara stated, you keep talking or saying about neighborhoods. What about the homes that are not in a neighborhood?
So we can definitely.
Go ahead, Todd, if you wanted to.
So so again, if you can email me, well, I don't know who asked that question, but if you can send me an email. So we would have to look into where our network is in relation to where those individual homes are. But please send me an email and with your address and location, and I'll definitely look into that.
And then to answer the part about the rural parts of Rolesville, up until a few years ago, we very adamantly said, we're not going into any county. That has changed, obviously, because a lot of our markets now have a good portion of the population living in county instead of in the town limits. So again, that is an internal discussion that we are still having. And then, of course, we need to work with those local governments as well to make sure that we can get that access to you in a safe and affordable way. So stay tuned to that. For right now, we are just building inside the town limits, but again, that can change in the near future.
Cool.
And I also have some other questions. Kathy had a couple of other questions, and we've talked a little bit about this, and it was regarding whether you can bring your own Fire Stick. And I know, yes, you can bring your own devices. That was one of her questions. And then also it was regarding wires that will run to upstairs routers instead of, if you have a couple of levels. And she wanted to know, will the wires run upstairs to the routers if we buy our own?
Yes. So that would probably fall under, depending on, where upstairs. If you decide you want your router upstairs, you have an upstairs office, that's where you watch TV, then absolutely our install techs can do that for you. That would probably fall under a customized installation. So you are looking at a little bit of added cost to do that. But we can bring the fiber line into the router wherever you want in the house.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Amanda.
Of course.
And
There was one other
Alex,
question from Timothy. Just wanted to know if prices of the rental equipment could ever increase.
No. Those are also set. All of the prices that you see on any of our collateral regarding products or pricing of the actual service, what you see is what you pay. The only time that you would maybe see something fluctuate is if you are looking for that customized enterprise bulk deal or contract deal that you would do with our account manager, Sherry Cooper.
Cool.
And we do have an option to where eventually prices could go down. So, you know, just keep an eye out for that. That's something that we are looking to eventually be able to implement. It just takes time and letting us get settled into a market before we do that.
Okay. Good. And I think one thing y'all have mentioned it already too, but I know when I first visited your website way back when, and the pre-order of $9 and thinking about doing it or not, it is, and I think you've got it crystal clear on there right now. You that, if I remember right, that is refundable. Like if you never
Completely.
make it to the neighborhood, that is refundable. So that helps. That helped made the decision for me to just go, okay, why not?
Yeah. And it's refundable. I mean, if you want to place your order and as soon as it goes through, give us a call and say, hey, I want my $9 back. That is absolutely up to you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would just go onto it would be credited onto your first bill once service was live in your home. So.
Cool. And I think also too, tell me if I'm remembering correctly, it also made you eligible for a discount on something. I don't see it right on this page that you're showing, but I think y'all did mention it because it was something, it got applied to the first month or something.
Yes,
Can you mention that again?
Yeah, so that's the free standard install, and then you would get 1 month free. So that month would most likely be your second month would be free for you. And that's
Okay.
just because that first month we have to get the billing information in and make sure that it's working properly.
Okay.
But then your second month of service would be free if you pre-order by the deadline.
Okay, good. And then here's another question from Timothy. Will the speed ever increase as technology improves? So I guess that's maybe even a two-part question. I can see Eric getting ready for this one, maybe. What's the capability of fiber? Can fiber go faster than that? And then if yes, then are y'all able to, to throttle that up?
Yeah, well, so just to touch on that, overarching, fiber is for the future. We already are ahead of the game. Our product is only comparable to one other product on the market right now, and that's Google Fiber.
Yeah.
So, right now, the service that we are providing to residents is a brand new concept that they can upload and download with that much speed in their own home. So we are already prepared for the future. And of course, this is super helpful in these crazy and unprecedented times that no one saw coming, that everyone's working from home and doing school from home. So we are already there and expanding outside the boundaries of the current technology that we have. So I don't know what to say on what it would look like in the future in 5 or 10 years. But we are already, providing a service that is not common in the United States.
Yeah.
and I'll add to that. So to answer the a little more specifically, yes, there is no technical limitation on fiber. Really, it's the technology behind it that prevents someone from
the
offering
hardware.
Right, 2 gigs, 5 gigs, 10, right. So my answer is there is no plans now to offer more than 1 gig, but there is definitely opportunity to do so in the near future.
Okay. Good.
And I think Eric wanted to add to that too.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
We have the capability to go to multiple gigs, but from Jason, I know Google's offering 2 gig down and 1 gig up. Really not a need for that as far as like Wi-Fi capabilities. We don't really have a customer out there that can handle more than what we can deliver now. I think it's more of a marketing ploy than.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Rachel, think I think I've covered all the questions that are for the folks that are inside Zoom and that are that are registered to sign up that way. Are you seeing any other questions out on any of the Facebook groups?
No, we are actually caught up on all the questions. And I do want to thank everyone who's actually viewing and participating via social media
Yes.
and sending those questions over. And if you can see the screen now, this is the contact information for Ting. We want to make sure that you all know how to reach them, how to contact them. And they've listed everything from social media to their website to actually phone numbers and email addresses. And I do want to say thank you so much to the Ting team. I can just imagine the calls you guys are getting. The interesting thing is we were discussing a couple of things before we actually went live on social media and before we open it up to everyone. And I think everyone is kind of feeling that pinch of needing some service that's actually reliable and consistent. And definitely in times like this, when we have inclement weather, is really key for us. And thank you so much to Team Encompass, Alan Smith. It was really great. Definitely sponsoring this session. Once a month, we'll be coming on with different ideas to talk about. And we want to make sure that everyone takes a screenshot, a picture, a snippet of the contact information. Amanda, thank you so much for leaving it up, because people ask us constantly, how do I get in contact with Ting? And I'll tell anyone, if you have those more technical questions, if you are running, servers out of your house or something like that, send them the questions. They will assist you and give you the best information and direct you on the best possible solution for you. So please don't think that you can't do that. And we're proud to have Ting as a partner of the Rolesville Chamber of Commerce. And we definitely appreciate any support that you guys have given us. It's been wonderful. I will say that. And today's session went by really fast. We always are worried about, when you have that 1 hour time slot, can you get everything covered in that 1 hour time slot? And so I do want to just turn it over to Ting. I know you guys have some other things that are coming up that are really exciting for the area too.
Yeah, absolutely. So specifically for Rolesville, we're just going to ask you guys to keep your ear to the ground. We've got some things coming up for you directly. Obviously, because of COVID, we are doing a lot more virtual events. So we will be hosting our virtual phase parties coming up at the end of March and early April, right before we're about to light for you. So look out for those invitations. And also we do have another program that we're starting where you can book short 15-minute one-on-one Q&A sessions with some local contacts. I will be part of that. Paulina will be part of that. And also our marketing manager, who's not here, will be also part of that. So make sure you follow us on Facebook and on Instagram to keep up with those notifications, and check your email and your mail often. You'll be getting some invites from us soon.
And I just want to add, I want to thank everyone for supporting us and for being patient. And I promise we're on the final stretch. Like I said, the goal is to have Rolesville activated in early April. So again, thank you everyone for your patience and for your support.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone. And tell people about us too. A lot of people have questions. If you see one of us on the side of the road, stop, ask questions. See us in the store, ask any questions. Yeah.
Look, Eric, what I'll do is make a TikTok the next time I see a Ting truck. That's one way to get it to go viral.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'll make a TikTok.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Alan. Do you have any last items?
Thank you.
I'll let you wrap up, Alan, if you have any last items, and you can close it out as our sponsor.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thank you. And as a sponsor, I hope to be able to talk with people about residential real estate in the area. But thank you all for, the other thing is a realtor. This matters. I think y'all mentioned in the one of the first slides that you had a statistic of about 3% that it helps home values. Buyers are asking, more than ever, obviously with the pandemic and everything, people are at home and need reliable internet with the kids at home and in school and that kind of thing. So thank you for bringing us another option there. And I think y'all all covered it as far as thanking everybody. Thanks for the folks in chat asking questions and participating. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.